inaugural ceremony celebrating the 10th anniversary of the interdisciplinary program in climate studies. I am Vishal Dixit. I am the first core faculty member in climate studies that I have joined a couple of months ago. We have an exciting set of events lined up today, including addresses by dignitaries, signing of an MOU between IITB and India Meteorological Department, launch of IDPCS brochure, electronic release of the new video, and unveiling of 10-year logo. I have a kind of gentle request. Please switch on the silent mode in your mobile phone so that we can carry forward this event without much of a disturbance. Thank you. Now, let me request our convener, Professor Subimal Ghosh, to lead all the dignitaries to the dais. Please put your hands together while we welcome them. Now I request our convener, Professor Subimal Ghosh, to welcome our dignitaries and the audience.
Good morning. I welcome you all to the 10th anniversary celebration of the interdisciplinary program in climate studies at IIT Bombay. Today we are privileged to have with us Chief Guest to the Government of India, Ministry of Arts Sciences, Dr. M. Ravichandran, who is the Honorable Secretary to the Ministry of Arts Sciences, the Senior Advisor to the Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, Dr. Nisha Mendiratta, Head of Strategic Programs, Large Initiatives and Coordinated Actions, Enabler, Department of Science and Technology. Thank you for accepting our invitation. We are really privileged to have you here. Now I request Director Professor Subhasis Chaudhuri to honor our Chief Guest, Dr. M. Ravichandran. I request Professor Chaudhuri to honor Dr. Akhilesh Gupta. Now I request Professor Chaudhuri to honor Dr. Nisha Mendiratta. Thank you, Professor Chaudhuri.
I now request our Director, Professor Subhasis Chaudhuri, to address the audience, please.
Good morning, Dr. Ravichandran, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, Mendiratta, Professor Ghosh, our distinguished colleagues, other visitors, students. On behalf of this special occasion, that the bicentennial anniversary of 10th anniversary is easier, okay, of a very special program that IIT Bombay envisioned probably another 5 to 10 years before that, given the current condition that all of us are facing, nobody can deny the need to study the climate studies, the mitigational aspects, and all other things that go on, and what are the corresponding things we should do. Being one of the top institutions in India, it is our collective responsibility to see that this very, very important subject is being taken up for research and training purposes. And that happened, the initiation of this, formal initiation I would say, happened about 10 years ago. And today we are celebrating, and we are very happy to do that, the 10th anniversary. I think, if you look at history of IIT Bombay, which is also not very old, 64 years old, but the history of this particular center, okay, is even much, much younger, okay. It's only 10 years. But despite that, we are happy to note that a lot of research, training, and various activities have come come out of this, which actually finds very useful in being applied in various parts of the country. I'm sure that this, next 10 years will probably have even more of an exponential level growth because, any kind of activity takes time. But now we have a fairly large number of faculty members, I am told from at least 10 different departments, okay, who are very much involved. Apart from having probably in the last few years is core faculty, which actually in our, normally the way we do it in IIT Bombay is that first you leverage what is the existing people that you have. You leverage their strength, you bring them together, get the thing, going, and then you see that based on the need, you bring people who are very, very domain specific. And that's why, now we are having also its core faculty. We have fairly large number of, I think, PhD students and the other graduate level students. And I hope that it will further increase because this is an area, in my opinion, is truly interdisciplinary. And as most of you know, that over the last, I think I would say around 10 years or so, whatever new that, have come in this campus, more or less all of them, they deal with topics which are very, very interdisciplinary in nature, including even the last few centers that have come up. They actually, onboard researchers from various, classical or not so classical areas, new areas, okay, where people have been working. We bring them together. Today, I think it's also a time to reflect that, 10 years of a time, we should do an assessment of our path that, whether we would like to do this thing or we need to also see that there has to be some bifurcation, there has to be some deviations we do so that finally the entire, the research ecosystem in this particular area, the need gets fulfilled. I think this is, and we are very happy for that we'll have the vision of our secretary, okay, Dr. Ravichandran, we have Dr. Gupta here, and they can guide us through their experience because they are dealing with the entire country, with all the things that are happening to this, all the data that they have. I think it'll be wonderful that if we have their guidance, okay, in our path ahead, and we look forward to that. So we're very happy that despite the busy schedule, I think they have taken their time to come here. So we truly welcome them, and we hope that the deliberation that happens over the day, that's useful to everybody. We do a lot more matchmaking because this is an interdisciplinary area. We need to put people together. So please talk to somebody and see that you can leverage somebody else's expertise for the collective benefit. We're very happy to see also that we are signing an MOU with IMD, because who knows our climate better than IMD? They have been doing it for, I think, 150, 200 years now. So they have the data, they have many other things, which I'm sure that if you can use this to validate different models and others, that I think our people would be working. And of course, the new data collection, whatever they're collecting, I think they can be shared. So we must share our resources. And I think this being a time where we look at the fourth paradigm of science, which is the data science, which is a lot of things are data driven. I think the data sharing is probably one of the most important things, and we should all agree to share the data, because this is a data, this is nothing personalized about anything, okay? This is at least in, normally when we talk about AI and data science area, then people will talk about privacy, they will talk about other things, but I don't think the data that you have for climate and others, I don't think those issues are really relevant here, because this is the data for a place, this is for data for a state or a country, whatever may be the scale you are looking at it, right? So I hope that we'll have this, some kind of shared data system. If there are others, international agencies also, if you have this thing, we'll be very happy. Our people are looking at it. So this particular interdisciplinary program is also leveraging some of our people in the Center for Machine Intelligence and Data Science, which is a new initiative. And I am sure that together we can bring in even more fruitful research that will find quite useful. So with that, I welcome you again, and I hope that the rest of the proceedings really be beneficial to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chaudhuri, for your kind words. Let us move ahead to our next event. I request the Honorable Secretary Dr. Ravichandran and Senior Advisor to DST Dr. Akhilesh Gupta to release the new brochure of IDP in Climate Studies. Let us put our hands together while they unveil the new brochure. Thank you. Thank you all. Now we will request Honorable Secretary Dr. Ravichandran to release a video showcasing the 10-year journey of IDP in climate studies. Dr. Ravichandran, please.
If you really need to look for a benchmark for sustainability, you don't have to go too far. Nature provides us an excellent benchmark for sustainability as it has survived for several billions of years. In this context, the interdisciplinary program in climate studies at IIT Bombay has completed 10 years of its glorious contributions.
The interdisciplinary program in climate studies at IIT Bombay was established in January 2012. This is India's first doctoral program on climate change, focusing on the areas of climate science, climate adaptation, and climate mitigation. Currently, we have 31 faculty members, among which one is a core faculty member, and there are 30 other faculty members from 12 different departments. We have at present 70 plus PhD students on roll, and approximately 20 students have already graduated. All of them are placed in research labs, academia, and industries worldwide. We have worked and also working on around 11 projects with an outlay of approximately 900 million INR. 3 of our students are Prime Minister Research Fellows. Several faculty members have got distinctions such as Fellows of Indian Academies, Fellows of American Geophysical Union. They have also got awards like Swarna Jayanti Fellowship, Shanti Sharup Bhatnagar Prize, and so on.
So when we conceptualized the interdisciplinary program in climate studies, a consultation was held by the Dean R&D's office, and it was found that there was an overwhelming interest across faculty from multiple departments. So one of the unique experiments that we tried was to have co-advising of PhD students from faculty members who came from different academic disciplines. As we continue to progress, there has been a very strong problem-oriented approach to providing solutions to climate change.
Since the primary concern both of the Government of India and of IIT Bombay was to help develop what was referred to as strategic knowledge, and as part of this we were also gradually involved by the climate change negotiators on behalf of the Government of India to help train officials in India, in South Africa, in Brazil, in China and so on, to help get a better deal in climate change negotiations.
The Center of Excellence in Climate Studies at IIT Bombay is a collaborative research center sponsored by Department of Science and Technology. It was established in 2012 as a part of National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change and under SPLICE and Climate Change Program Division under the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. In the first 5 years, we were able to establish unidirectional framework from global to regional scale, land atmosphere modeling, regional climate and hydrologic and agricultural impacts to vulnerability mapping at local scale. Major emphasis were given in understanding urban climate, extreme and flood. In the second 5-year and current phase, we extended the activities of the center towards an integrated study of regional climate change along with direct and feedback links among different components.
Our faculty and students have published their research in high-quality international conferences and journals. We have published nearly 170 articles in these 10 years, and about 7% of our publications have made it to the top 1% journals in the respective fields. Our work has not only been well accepted by the international scientific community, but has also garnered a lot of media attention owing to its societal relevance. Our work can generate strategic knowledge on climate change, can influence engineering design and practice and policy interventions, and can potentially inform assessment reports such as those developed by the IPCC. The IDP in Climate Studies at IIT Bombay has also significantly contributed towards capacity building and outreach through several training programs and workshops, including our very popular annual summer school organized for students in India and abroad.
Successfully solving this complex problem of climate change and global warming will require an interdisciplinary, collaborative approach. It is a bit like relay race. IDP in Climate Studies has successfully nurtured such climate athletes for past decade, and in fact very soon we are launching a dual degree program as well as a master's program to train future climate athletes. I am confident that we will contribute significantly to India's response to climate change.
Going forward, I would expect that the climate change research group would continue to solve and focus on several important problems, bringing together technology, policy, and translate all of these into useful products for societal impact.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary. Now, an agreement will be signed between IMD Pune and IIT Bombay towards development of climate services and solutions through collaborations. I request the Head Climate Services, India Meteorological Department, Pune, Shri K. Hosalikar, and Professor Milind, Atrey, Dean R&D, to come on the dais, please. I request Professor Atrey to felicitate Shri Hosalikar. I request Professor Atrey and Shri Hosalikar to sign the agreement. Let us put our hands together while they formally sign the agreement between IMD Pune and IIT Bombay. Thank you, Shri Hosalikar and Professor Atrey. This agreement will start a new collaborative journey of IMD and IIT Bombay developing improved climate services and solutions for sustainable development. Now I request Honorable Secretary Dr. Ravichandran to address the audience, please.
Thank you, Professor Chaudhuri, Director IIT Bombay, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, Advisor, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Dr. Nisha, Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Subimal Ghosh, faculties, students, invitees, colleagues from IMD. Very good morning to all of you. Of course, it is indeed a great pleasure to be here as part of this 10th year celebration, a decade-long program on interdisciplinary program on climate studies. I think it has come a long way, and it is truly, climate science is an interdisciplinary science, you all know that. And first of all, I congratulate the department, faculty, and all the people for making this 10 years program very successful. And I'm looking forward in the future for many more achievements and contribution to the society. And secondly, I think this interdisciplinary program I think it is a very good initiative and well thought it, especially for climate science. You all know that, first of all, science itself, it is interdisciplinary. You know that there are programs like a STEM started. So science is not only enough, you have to have a technology, science and technology, then engineering solution, then mathematics is important for that solution to drive. So STEM has formed. Then later on, I think people thought that is not good enough, so you have to have a creativity. So for that, they added again STEAM. A is added in this term. Then whatever the outcome is coming, it is also part of a human health and other things. So they made now STEAM, WM. So that is very apt for this climate science, because we do science and we do technology and also engineering solutions and mathematical models, and also the creativity as well as the arts is also social science. We need to reach whatever the outcome has come from science and technology and other related area, it has to reach the society. And finally, it is also health oriented. So what is the health related hazards in terms of climate and other things? So maybe after the COVID, I think the next biggest impact, of course, COVID is a short-term problem, but the climate is a long-term problem. So we need to have solutions to find out. So first we need to understand the problem. Of course, you know it is a very complex. So all three states of matter, it is you take atmosphere, it is warming. You take ocean, liquid state also warming, and also in the solid state like even earth, or even see the cryosphere ice, either both pole or three poles, Antarctica and Arctic and Himalaya, all are crying, all are melting. So it is a warming. So we need to understand first. So the understanding is very important, what is happening. Then once we understand, then we have to, after gathering the knowledge, then we need to model them. So we need a lot of what is called input. And once we model, then we have to give a forecast and preparedness. And finally, we have to deliver the product to the common man or the policy makers. So what way we have to do, especially in terms of adaptation strategy or mitigation strategy, what we need to do. Most of you know that recently IPCS has brought out both adaptation as well as the mitigation strategy, what is the state of affairs presently in the global things. So everywhere it is a problem. Even now, if you see that heat waves is like prominent things, I think unlike in other years or maybe every year it is warming up. Of course, it is not the climate phenomena. Of course, it is a part of various superposition of many waves. Maybe these different time scales are superposed, and then it is maybe in the peak of all these things, which we need to see that. But interestingly, this year is, I think both the anomalously very actually this sea ice is very low in Arctic. So maybe in that is a record, and also 122 years of a record heat wave here. And in Antarctica also, it is 40 degree more than the normal. That means 40 degrees centigrade more than the normal. It is about -12, which is never experienced. So everywhere, usually what happens, the energy usually happen somewhere it is heat, somewhere cold. So there is a balance will be there. But now we could see everywhere it is happening. So we need to understand thoroughly what is happening. Then in coming back to the technological solution. So when it is go for like this, so in the atmospheric side, we need to have more and more observations. So for that, what is that technology? We can have it. I think maybe whether we can have a drone technology to monitor higher frequency of observations. In the ocean, we need to monitor, because up to 2000 meter depth, the heat is going. Now below 2000 meter, how do we monitor whether we have any gliders or Argo or any other technologies available in the ocean side? And also we have many other technological interventions to monitor. It is very important. So that I think collectively, that's why this interdisciplinary will help. Not only that, what we need, we have to tell the science, and the technology people come forward to prepare what we need to monitor or what we have a solution. Also, it is very important to have a social science in this climate group, so that because we need to translate our science to societal need, exactly what is that we require, we need to do that. Having said that, I think it is not one discipline. So I think it is not only hydrosphere, atmosphere, cryosphere, and maybe the geosphere, but also it is an interdisciplinary, even physics. Actually, this is one field you can name it all discipline, fundamental physics, chemistry, biology, all the things are involved. Similarly, all engineerings are involved. And similarly, you can name it any discipline, everybody has to pitch in so that discipline will grow. I think that is the way, I think 10 years back you thought about it and you have started this interdisciplinary program. It is really, really very noble thought, and it is fetching something. And definitely it will fetch in the coming years more and more in the coming years. I think having said that, I think now what we thought is now in the coming years, maybe in the Ministry of Earth Sciences, and maybe we want to follow the same. Of course, recent years in the top level, from Prime Minister to Minister's level, the same interdisciplinary is going on. So our Minister, I think Dr. Akhilesh, he is a member secretary for the ministerial meeting, in the interdepartmental meeting. So our Minister says that you have to involve other ministries together, interdisciplinary, you have to work together, and each ministry should not work standalone. So we have already been discussing the climate science especially, so the Ministry of Earth Sciences and the Department of Science and Technology and Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. We are planning to have a common consortium type of things, so that the ministry level, which will work with maybe academia, because we have a funding mechanism, maybe how do we do policy and other things, but we don't have resources like what you have academia. So you have interdisciplinary academia, and maybe discipline people are available here, human resource or human potential is available here. So which we need to work to ministry plus academia plus some of the national labs, which is working on various discipline of climate related things. So we want to have some pool. So we will formulate a consortium. I think maybe the next monthly meeting we will urge upon our minister, and it will come out this some of the policy or some of the what is called, how do we work together, especially the climate. It is not only one particular ministry, it is for the government of India what we need to do. Finally, the solution has to reach the common man. For that, what we need to collectively work. So that is also one kind of interdisciplinary or interdepartmental, and maybe the various space and time scale we have to work together, and we can deliver some of the good things for the human being. So having said that, now maybe we have to work towards that. Maybe next 10 years, definitely we will go for a much more what is called science, technology, and other things. So I look forward more and more interventions or policy decisions to provide to the government by this group, and for that whatever required from the ministry level, we will be able to help as much as possible. So we will work collectively and we will come out with a good result. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary Dr. Ravichandran, for your kind words, and also for putting the whole climate studies in perspective for our audience and for us. So now we will take a very short tea break of 10 minutes. Thank you. Welcome back to the inaugural event celebrating the 10th anniversary of IDP in Climate Studies. Again, a humble request to switch off your mobile phones or put them in silent mode so that we can move ahead smoothly. Thank you. There is also one more announcement, that today is the perfect moment to click a photograph involving all the faculty members and students, those who are associated with IDPCS, along with the dignitaries that are present. So I request all of you to kind of make yourself available at the end of this session. We will have a set of photographs taken. Thank you. Now I request the dignitaries to come on the dais and Professor Ghosh to please lead them. Now let me invite Professor Ghosh to introduce the IDP in Climate Studies to the audience.
Thank you, and a very good morning again. Welcome to the inaugural session. So, the interdisciplinary program in climate studies was set up 10 years back in January 2012 with the initial support from Department of Science and Technology. And you can see there are quite a number of snapshots which are taken during our journey of last 10 years. And one of the things I must say that in all the snapshots you can see Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, and he has been always our mentor. He has guided us a lot during this last 10 years, and whatever climate studies has achieved, major chunk of the credit goes to Dr. Gupta. Thank you, sir, for all your guidance, support, and for your everything for climate studies. So, IDP Climate Studies was the first doctoral program addressing the research related to climate change. And we are considering all the three areas of climate science, climate adaptation, and at present also we are working on climate mitigation. So all the three areas are coming under the same umbrella of climate change. And our vision is very clear. We want to be the world leader in research, education, innovation, and capacity building. We are adding innovation also in climate science and climate solutions. Now we are focusing more on climate solutions, aligning with the sustainable development goals to serve the society and protect it from the adverse impacts of climate change. So that's our vision now. As I was mentioning that these are our key areas. So we are working on climate science, climate adaptation, and climate mitigation. But our primary objective is to use the knowledge of climate science, whatever we are gaining through climate impact adaptation research and climate mitigation research, finally coming up in terms of improving the climate services and solutions. For example, in climate science, we are working on multiple areas starting with global to regional projections, statistical downscaling, climate extremes, aerosol climate interactions, urban meteorology, urban flooding, data assimilation, land atmospheric feedback, and so on. In the same way, for climate impacts and adaptation, we are working on impacts on water resources, water energy food nexus, which is one of the key area nowadays, climate and health, climate disaster risk, infrastructural and socioeconomic vulnerabilities, climate resilient design for infrastructure. This is also we have started working on, specifically in the area of transportation and energy, and of course knowledge co-production, adaptation decision tools, and so on. Over the last 10 years, we have started a little late, but we are now strongly focusing on climate mitigation as well. And with the help of DST, we have now a center on CCUS, that is Carbon Capture and Utilization Center, which has been set up at IIT Bombay. And at the same time, we are working on low carbon science and technology, renewable energy, of course, carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration technology. We have climate change policies for national goals and global participation, green economics. So there are various areas in which we have been working. As I was mentioning, as Dr. Ravichandran has very clearly mentioned that climate is an area which is an interdisciplinary area. It is interdisciplinary because it requires the input from several disciplines. It is interdisciplinary because it serves different disciplines. So its input and output both are interdisciplinary for climate, and that's why it's a very unique area. For example, for climate change, understanding climate change, we need very good knowledge of computational fluid dynamics, we need mechanical engineering and chemical engineering component. We need very good idea of AI/ML. Now we are talking about petabytes of data in climate change. So essentially we are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data theory, and so on. We need water cycle is one of the major cycle in climate. So essentially hydrology knowledge is very important, and there are quite a number of hydrologists who are involved in climate studies. Chemistry, aerosol chemistry is very important. It's a strong component in our IDP climate studies. Chemistry and chemical engineering knowledges are needed. It's needed atmospheric physics. And we know that climate is changing, and because of which for any sustainable development, for any kind of, we are talking about any engineering development or scientific development, climate is a very strong component, and we must accept that. And because of which we need to understand not only the impacts of climate change, but also come up with solutions in the fields of agriculture, water, energy, infrastructure, health, and so on and so forth. So essentially, for each and every field needs a very strong climate input, and there we stand. We have been, as it was mentioned in the video also, that over the last 10 years, we have done quite a number of sponsored research projects, and that involved around 90 crores of funding that we could do, and then we could work with not only DST UKD, but also we have worked with Ministry of Arts Sciences, with different state governments, with MOEFCC through NCAP projects and so on. But one of the most prominent thing which I'd like to highlight is that we have been working over the last 10 years with Department of Science and Technology, and that really generated the momentum in climate studies over IIT Bombay. And we are really fortunate, and we are, because DST has supported us, and it was supported in two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. In the first phase, it was 2012 to 2018, and the second phase is now going on from 2018 to 2023. For the first phase, Professor Chandra Venkataraman was the principal investigator, lead investigator, and for second phase, Professor Shubhankar Kanvakar is the lead investigator. In the first phase, what we tried to do, we tried to work in an interdisciplinary way, understanding climate science, climate adaptation, and climate mitigation. But in the second phase, what we started is that we started interacting, like climate science started interacting with climate adaptation. Climate adaptation has started interacting with climate mitigation. In the sense, like, let's say if we have an adaptation strategy, what will be its feedback to atmospheric processes? So these interactions again started, which is a very different kind of interdisciplinary approach which we started, and that is possible because we have faculty members and students from different areas and disciplines. One of another major project which is funded by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change under NCAP, which is Qualis project, which is where around 10 institutions were involved, and this is also another big project which we have done. Professor Chandra Venkataraman is the lead investigator for this project, and you can see a photograph which is of the launch of the NCAP project. The other important thing which we very recently had done is that we have IDP Climate Studies has developed the State Action Plan on Climate Change for Rajasthan, where 8 faculty members and 11 students from IDP Climate Studies were involved, and there are altogether 8 chapters on water, health, mitigation, forestry, biodiversity, agricultural vulnerability, socioeconomic vulnerability, urban governance, and monitoring and evaluation. As I always mention that our climate studies, interdisciplinary program in climate studies, is a very unique department because it has an unique blend of climate science and climate policy. Normally when we talk about science and policy, we always talk about science-driven policy or science-guided policy. But here it's slightly different because it's not only science-guided policy, but at the same time we also do a lot of policy evaluations based on scientific knowledge. So it's both-way interactions which we encourage among faculty members and students. For example, if you're talking about science-guided policies, there are quite a number of scientific investigations that could have been resulted into a good policy. For example, the carbonaceous aerosol influence on climate extremes that may result in a policy coordination between air pollution and climate. We have worked where we talked about crop choices, what should be a better crop choices to reduce the agricultural failure. We showed that there is a need for consistent definition of water scarcity to guide policy. So essentially, considering the uncertainty which is there, we have done a lot of work in terms of what are the different options for private vehicles like electric vehicles, different kind of fuels, etc., and what should be different adoption strategies and so on, and at the same time what should be the specific GHG emission target that should come for the private vehicles, what should be that one. So that sort of policy guidelines we are also providing based on scientific investigations. And at the same time, we are also doing a lot of policy evaluations based on science. One of them is that we are trying to understand what could be the feedback from the interlinking of river basins to the climate, to the atmosphere, to the large-scale climate system. We are working on, let's say if you are going for flood to drip irrigation, is it really helping? Or over a large scale, given the huge amount of subsidies that is needed for this kind of conversion and so on. We have done a lot of work where we have shown that, let's say if you are taking only mitigation measures for industry and transport, and we are without doing anything for residential and agricultural sector, then that may result into near-term atmospheric warming rather than cooling. So there are a lot of policies which is also evaluated by science. And also we have been developing a lot of climate services in terms of improving. One of them is IIT Bombay took a lead in one of the project that was funded by Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, and we developed India's first real-time urban flood forecasting system for the entire city, which was done for Chennai, and there were 8 institutions which are involved, 30 scientists were involved, and that includes many of the even MOS organizations like IMD, NCCR, which is now operated as CFlows at NCCR in Chennai. We have been working with the farmers to develop irrigation water management practices, which includes the IMD's weather forecast, as well as that also extended range predictions, as well as the soil moisture sensor, so soil moisture monitoring. We have developed country-scale agricultural vulnerability risk map for risk and for rice and wheat. We have developed a coastal vulnerability map or risk map. And also one of the things which we developed during the COVID time is that based on the request from some of the district officials over Odisha, we developed what should be the flood evacuation strategy during the pandemic, so that you can reduce the number of infections within the shelters, but at the same time you can actually evacuate the people who are actually more vulnerable to flood. As I was mentioning that initially we are a bit weak in mitigation, but now we are coming up strongly with many of our new associate faculty members, and we are working on multimodular carbon dioxide treatment systems, converting carbon dioxide to high value chemicals, customized solutions for the industries, and also we are working on different geological formation. We are understanding how much carbon dioxide storage potential they have. So there are a lot of areas in which now we are strongly coming into the mitigation areas as well. Coming to the faculty strength, now we are very happy that we have a core faculty member, Professor Vishal Dixit is here, and 2 more core faculty members will be joining this year, they have confirmed. We have 31 associate faculty members. Thank you. There are 31 associate faculty members from 12 different departments. So we focus more on interdisciplinarity, and then that's why we have multiple departments who are involved. Students are our strength, and we have doctoral program, existing doctoral program. At the same time, we are starting interdisciplinary dual degree program, where a student, they are doing BTech in any other discipline, let's say civil engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, computer science, they can do a master's in climate studies. So 4 + 2, 6 is becoming 5 years. It's a total 5 years program, which will be anybody from any discipline, they can do a master's program in climate studies. So we are starting this from this semester, and we are targeting that probably after a year we'll start a master's program in climate studies. That's our target. We have 70 PhD students on roll. 20 are actually graduated, so altogether 90 altogether. And we have made sure that each student is supervised by 2 faculty members from 2 different disciplines, so that the interdisciplinary flavor is there in each and every thesis. One of the major important thing which we'd like to stress upon is that IIT Bombay is taking leading role in academia in terms of promoting interdisciplinary research. As Director Professor Subhasis Chaudhuri was mentioning that over the last 10 years, whatever centers that are being developed, all are interdisciplinary centers. None of them are in specific areas. All of them are interdisciplinary, and some of them are centered on machine intelligence and data science, Center for Policy Studies, Center for Digital Health, Center for Urban Science and Engineering, and one of the most important is the DST supported Technology Innovation Hub. And our IDP Climate Studies is working with all of these interdisciplinary centers with coming up with newer proposals, so that we can work in a much better interdisciplinary way. For example, IDP Climate Studies has worked with Machine Learning and Data Science Center to come up with one of the proposal, which is for Center of Excellence in AI/ML in Climate Extremes, which is with ACRB now for review. We are working with Digital Health to come up with Climate and Health, which is under preparation for Government of Maharashtra. We are working, of course, with the policy studies. Many of our faculty members are also policy studies. We are working with Urban Science and Engineering, and most importantly, we are also working with the TIH, so that we can really use that newer technologies in terms of drone technologies, newer sensors, and all of them we can include in climate smart agriculture. Let's say if you have to design a climate smart agricultural system, a better monitoring is necessary. Can we use drone, low cost drones? Can we use low cost sensors? In what way they can add value to the agricultural management? So these are some of the areas in which we are working at present. We have our publication record has been very good. We have around 196 publications over the last 10 years. And you can see that we have never compromised on quality, and because of which you can see that we could publish in some of the leading journals like Nature Climate Change, Nature Communication, Science Advances, Nature Sustainability, PNAS, Environmental Research Letter, and so on. And you can see a good fraction of our publications are actually in high impact journal, even some of them has an impact factor of greater than 8 and so on. So this is what we have been doing. And we are also focusing on startups. So one of our colleague, Professor Shri Balasubramaniam, has started a startup on weather forecast. So essentially, how can we use the weather forecast for different stakeholders? It is Weathercast, which has now become very popular. So we are also looking into this, and many students are also interested in designing startups in the area of climate. Our students have been brilliant, and they are actually getting a lot of recognitions. And one of them I'd like to highlight is that we have a team which was led by Srinath Haran Iyer. And of course, the faculty mentors were Professor Vikram Vishal and Professor Arnab Datta. They have got a huge international recognition. So they have got an award of $250,000 US grant from the Elon Musk Foundation. Very recently. So this is one of the, in the area of carbon capture and sequestration. And three of our students are Prime Minister Research Fellows. Our students have got Fulbright Column Climate Fellows, and two of our students are already placed in other IITs. So we are actually doing a human resource development as well. Our faculty members also have got a lot of recognition, so I am not really, reading them all, but so actually, our students and faculty, we are working together for the sustainable development, and we are trying our level best to contribute for the country's mission. At the same time, during the COVID times, I am very sorry to say that we have lost two of our students. One was our alumni, Dr. Prashant Dave, and another one was a very young chap, Moinak Das. He was a PhD student. We lost them because of COVID, and they are always in our hearts. So, yes, that's all from my side. As I mentioned, that we are committed to work together on the development of climate services and solutions for the society and protect them from adverse climate impacts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ghosh, for giving a comprehensive picture of what IDP in climate studies has been kind of progressing in last 10 years. You may have heard in his talk that DST has played a central role in the development and progress of our department. So now let us request Senior Advisor to the DST, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, to address the audience, please.
Chief guest of today's event, Dr. M. Ravichandran, the Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, distinguished faculty of IDPCS, and also the other department of IIT Bombay, my colleague Dr. Nisha, students and other participants. Very good morning to all of you. In fact, this is a kind of, it goes in memory lane 10 years back when we started the Center of Excellence at IIT Bombay, and that has been very, I would say, landmark decision to go for it. And I still recall that it was such a struggle for us to get this center sanctioned by government, because it's all that happened. If you see the historical changes that happened in 2006, a new Ministry of Earth Sciences was set up, and DST, all meteorology related institutions were merged with Ministry of Earth Sciences. So when these national missions came to DST, we had nothing in our hand. We had no institution of our own working in climate. So we literally started from the scratch. So when you start something from the scratch, you need a lot of effort at your end. And IIT Bombay Center of Excellence was the first Center of Excellence under this mission. And this, in fact, progressed so much. I'm not going to details of those things. But I recall, when D.R. Sikka in his last days, he wanted to write history of meteorology, and so together, I was assisting him as how we can. So a lot of material was collected, and then I realized that although meteorology in India is not that old, say 150 years or so, started with IMD. So only one organization till early 70s, that is IMD. 70s, IITM and Center for Atmospheric Sciences at IIT Delhi, also COS at IIT Bangalore, and several in Kanpur IIT and all started. So just imagine 150 years back, we had just one department in meteorology and climate. Today, when in fact, we have done a mapping of all the meteorology related department in the country, teaching and research. This is 795. So that shows the expansion that took place. And the big changes that take place. Meteorology was largely intramural. Say intramural in the sense that largely by Ministry of Sciences institution and so IMD, IITM and others. Extramural started, with DST support in, as I said, mid-70s or something. But it was at a very minuscule level. Actual expansion of climate research started only after these two national missions came to DST and the kind of funding. So today's funding, if you see in extramural, in climate research, 80% funding is done by DST in climate research, although we are very small in 80%. So anyway, I'm not going to detail, but I'm saying that one decade, how much it contributes to a subject. If you look at the history book, a decade will be one line, just one line. But in meteorology, the last decade has been phenomenal. In climate research, it has been very transformative. And much of that contributed by some of these centers that were set up as part of the mission. But look at the change in the technology. See, we started, I remember I was working in National Center for Meteor and Weather Forecasting. We were running a model called TAT, 150 kilometer resolution. And with synoptic scale physics and nothing that you can say. And with that model also, so much of work, and IMD and Inaugural together did so much. Even with that model, today we have, model of, even global model of 10 kilometer resolution. And mesoscale model was at that time 40 kilometer, ETA model 45 kilometers, this MM5 model. Now we have all that advanced mesoscale model. Now this is the transition that has taken place, and kind of computing resources has gone. We had teraflop computers, and now we have petaflops and even tens of petaflops. And therefore, and more than resolution, the physics has improved. In fact, assimilation has improved. I don't think today the kind of assimilation these models have is almost like radiance assimilation, and the kind of data that go, the volume of data that go into these assimilation is enormous. And so the kind of, as I said, technological revolution took place, and that is how today's prediction by IMD comes so true, because there's so much of technological revolution. Now, if you say, look at 10 years back and 10 years from now, what kind of major things are you seeing? And these are the, and since young people are there, so they must have a clear vision as to where we will go from here. If you see the National Weather Service vision, they have published recently, look at their vision. And next 5 years cell, they're saying 2030 vision, that they're saying that satellite data will completely replace the conventional data. This is a vision. I mean, whether it happen or not, and it may not happen. So satellite data will completely replace the existing all instrumental observation. Very big vision. And although I am a conventional synoptician, I would never agree. I said, no, conventional observation should remain there. I think technology technology is such, you can't hold on with that. So however conservative we may be, saying that no, it should not happen, but it may happen. And then the other vision is very important. That 3-day forecast will match with the observation. Exact 3-day forecast will match with the observation, which means you're talking about near 100% accuracy of weather forecasting in 3-day. But the problem is that, weather forecasting has improved so much, but the challenges has also gone up very high. Today's and the kind of impact of climate change that we are having on extreme events is unprecedented. Heat wave and extreme rainfall and kind of thing. So the challenges for forecasters are very, very big now. And so we improve the forecast, that's fine. And the real challenge comes not for the short and medium range forecast. The challenge is now for the extended range forecast and the long range forecast. Like how people are getting, and this is NWS, another very important vision they are seeing. They are saying that they will run, this is again, I'm not as a conventional forecaster, I may not agree, that they will run the model for 30 days. 30-day integration of model, so it's actually, if you look at it, is crossing the limit of predictability. And so, as I say, conventional meteorologists, I may not agree that, a weather model is integrated for 30 days. It's okay, the seasonal, if there is a couple model you run for a month or beyond, but no, weather model integrated for 30 days, little unconventional. Anyway, I think I'm not going to too much into detail of this thing, but I'm saying that the next decade is going to focus on technology side on 3 things. Assimilation is going to be and see, look at the matching of assimilation. So you have satellite data available at a very high resolution, both horizontal and vertical, and you have the models matching that resolution going for this thing. And then the second issue is the physics. So you already have subgrid level physics, but I think this is going to include color. So you're going to have very robust physics, and of course the resolution and not only resolution but also integration on a longer period of. So these are the challenges that weather models will have. Climate models will have different challenge. So today again, so as Secretary Sciences are announced today, and this is the area that we are in fact contemplating, that Ministry of Sciences, Department of Science and Technology, and Ministry of Environment and Forests put together address some of the key areas that concern all of us. Modeling is one. So already ESM is being run by IITM, and this is like, again, this is a more kind of weather model which has been converted into a climate model with all chemistry and physics included. We will like that, all these departments put together, all the 8 Center of Excellence or DST, 20 major R&D programs, all entire network of DST with 3 institutions of Earth Sciences, MOE, IMD and Chandra and IITM, and and also institutions of MOE put together may work to create an India-centric climate model. That should be the aim of our thing. Similarly, climate services, aerosols are studied by and supported by at least, I remember, 9 departments in the government. We can together work and make an aerosol mission. And similarly, the other area like glaciology and all can be work together. Sciences also doing, DST also doing, MOEF also doing. And policy and program integration is very important. Should happen together on the thing. There are many areas like, urban climate is going to be very important in time to come. We must focus on this. And also in the long range scale, this is now time when we transition the replacing statistical model with the dynamical model completely. And so at this moment, still the statistical model is occupying this space because of, the dynamical models are still not that robust on the thing. With the kind of challenge that AR6 reports have been providing, India is going to be impacted largely by the extreme events. I think we need to focus on the early warning system. Already IMD has so much of early warning system put in place, but I think we need more robust and more extensive work on this area. And so I would, towards end, I would say that, in IIT Bombay, DST has been supporting several initiatives. So we have a sign hub under the incubation, DST, the incubator system. Also, we have TIH under the ICPS. We have the new center on carbon capture and utilization, and DST climate change program all together. In fact, there is a national committee on carbon capture and utilization, which I've been given responsibility to head. We are going to discuss on carbon capture utilization is one area that's going to be very important because, considering the mitigation targets that we have, the carbon utilization become very, very important in time to come, because India will have challenge both on the side of adaptation because of the poor population and the high density of population, and on the other hand, mitigation through various mitigation nature, including renewable energy, hydrogen, carbon capture utilization, electric vehicle, and several initiatives that need to be there in place. So, in fact, we are going to shortly start under the Center for Policy Studies. In fact, we are just going to discuss. DST may start, I don't know, I'm not using word may, start a DST Center for Policy Research at IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Gupta, for telling us about how DST saw IDP climate studies growing, but not only that, but also sharing historical anecdotes on how in general meteorology evolved in India, and also telling us how it is expected to develop in the future. Thanks a lot for that. Now I request CCP-SPLICE DST head, Dr. Mendiratta, to address the audience. Dr. Mendiratta.
Respected Dr. Ravichandran ji, Secretary MOES, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, Senior Advisor, Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Subimal, Dr. Chandra, Dr. Shubhankar, Dr. Arpita, all the faculty members present here, students, friends from MOES, and all the people who are gathered here. It's a real privilege for me to be with all of you today in this special occasion to celebrate a decade-long journey of IDP. In fact, like standing here, I also recall the day when we visited IIT Bombay. Dr. Chandra is smiling. I remember that was a Sunday when we thought of coming to IIT, and that was a very dark day. And still I remember we have climbed to, I think, 4th or 5th floor of your committee room, because there was no power at that point of a time. So that was the starting point of this center, I still remember. But you know, I'm getting little nostalgic because our climate change program of DST also started sometime at that point. It was sometime in the year 2010 when the National Action Plan on Climate Change came to existence, Prime Minister Council on Climate Change. This I am telling to all the students, because all of you might be knowing, but still you should know, because the students who are contributing to this center, the importance of the program, and not only at national perspective, but also at international perspective, the importance of this center. That's why I'm telling all this. So, so this center actually, when this NAPCC came into existence, at that time, Prime Minister Council, they thought of initiating 8 national missions, and 2 missions came to Department of Science and Technology. One was NMSKCC, second was NMSHI. I will not tell the full name, and I would like to have an interactive session with all of you to give me the name of it later on. Yeah. So, I mean, at that point of time, when DST was not having climate change program, so a climate change cell started in the year 2009. So, initially, Dr. Gupta was roped in. And then later on, because I was working on some of the programs of DST, which were dealing with natural resource data management, and I was working with NRDMS division, and also another program in which I developed a program on generation of database for Himalayan region, that was BioGeo database. So I was also asked to join this group, because NMSHI was related to Himalayan ecosystem, and NMSKCC was to generate strategic knowledge. These were the 2 broad missions. So as he was saying that 2 bulky documents were given to us, which was the program document, mission document. And too much of things were written in that. And it was up to us to study, to churn it around, to add on our perspective, to bring out the concept, and then develop the required activities. But the main thing which was common in both the mission was, number 1, India requires capacity building. We need to go for a robust mechanism for training, capacity building, especially for the youngsters. That was the one thing. And second important thing was how to network, how to bring in all the stakeholders. Stakeholders means, that is another question. If I was having interactive session, I would have asked all of you, but I will answer it here. Stakeholders means it's not only pertaining to the organizations, the researchers, the communities. We have to go to all the level because the output of the program should reach to the society. That was the thing which is dovetailed into these documents. So these were the broad two things, that capacity building and also to make a self-sustained system. Number two, generation of knowledge, which should be of national and international importance, and it should be India specific. And as I said, number three, it should be stakeholder oriented. We have to take the information to the users. Now, how to take the information to the users? Here, another thing came that there should be a nexus between state and policy, state and center. Right? States are doing extensively good work in their domain. SAPC also, you might be knowing that this is State Action Plan on Climate Change, and all the states have a nodal department identified by Government of India who are, I think, assigned to take up this job, and they have to look into the state specific perspective. But when it comes to central level, central body is the dedicated or the assigned authority to evolve the policy directives, but then there should be some linkage. That also was a part of these missions. Then at that point of time, we thought that how to move ahead. Then broad structure or framework which we developed, DST developed was, number one, we should try to bring all the organizations working in the aspects of concern to the country on climate change impact. So climate change science was our main focused area. Then we started identifying the groups. How to identify? That was again a very didactic job, and we were only 2 people to look into it. We were not having any, because now I see the IIT Bombay campus, and it's my 3rd or 4th visit here, and I always have a big interaction, maybe one day or so, and always I find that group is very, very dedicated and also quite networked, very closely networked. So it is reflecting on your outcome as well, because when you work together, there are various themes, as Ravichandran said, that it's a multidisciplinary work. So many aspects you're looking. In fact, I brought the outcome also, but I'm not reading all that. I'm just telling from my heart whatever is coming to my mind. So you have worked on many areas, in phase 1. Phase 2 also you have now further reached out to vegetation and this agricultural impact and social vulnerable, because just now I was having discussion, you were telling me about social and humanity aspect as well. So many things I've taken up now. But how to identify those groups? We also identified few areas to work with. Then we did a Scopus study. We identified top 30 institutions of the country, and of course IIT Bombay is there, top ranking. And here I must say that we were very fortunate to invite the group to work with DST's program, and this group has not only given the required scientific acumen and information and generate the strategic knowledge for the climate change scenario for the whole country, but also given us a good next gen, I will say, of climate change in the form of PhD students. So in the first batch, I must compliment the team and I must congratulate all the students. There are around 30 students who are there, and they are doing wonderful, and they are wonderfully placed in the premium institution of the country, like IIT Madras, you said, IIT Kanpur, and Fulbright Kalam. That is also another, I must say it here. So as I was saying, that was the first thing where we identified the institution. And second thing was that in what manner we should develop our programs, because it is a mission mode program, it's time bound. Then we decided that number one, we are going to have major R&D projects with these identified 30 institutions. Number two, we are going to develop a dedicated center of excellence. And we identified only 4 or 5 themes at that point of a time. Climate modeling and pest and disease we identified, and I think health also we identified. 4 or 5 sectors only we identified, because we had limited budget also. So that also we have to keep in mind. So this was a thing. And then for capacity building, yeah, we created special climate change cells at state. So that is also another unique initiative under NMSKCC mission of DST. And I'm very proud to say that at present in both the missions, around 28 states have dedicated state climate change cells supported by Department of Science and Technology. So I feel the students have a great opportunity and future, and we would like to see to them that they also contribute to these cells and provide the research acumen to take the information forward through their modeling and the kind of knowledge they have generated from IIT Bombay. Yeah, so that was the thing. And then we thought that in order to have a kind of international exposure to the students, there must be some kind of bilateral program. So then this Fulbright Kalam, which Dr. Subimal just now showed, and I'm very happy. Where is that student? I want to see. Yeah. Okay, great, great. Yeah. So we are part of that committee, and this Fulbright Kalam was initiated considering the requirement and that all of you should know. You should have an exposure to the outside world, and Fulbright is one of the most prestigious fellowship of the at global level. So we had our this association with US, and 4 years. We started for 4 years, and because of pandemic, there was some delay. I think you might be visiting. Yeah. So, that is another remarkable thing I will say, which DST did. And I'm very happy that all the students, whenever we go for their orientation program, when you will be going to US, I think we will be coming and giving a kind of orientation to you. And always I find very happy that when they come back, they come back with lot of good ideas and with lot of vigor that, they want to contribute and take this knowledge forward. So, this is, many more things are there, but time is short, so I would not like to speak more on this. And similarly, in our other mission also, in Himalayan mission, as Ravichandran sir was saying about various issues which India is facing. So sir, in Himalayan mission also, many remarkable things are being held, which we would be very happy to brief you later on in Delhi. But in Delhi, meeting is difficult. Coming here is always, I think, because, nowadays all of us are tied up with many things there. So anyhow, in short, I want to say that, DST is doing the job of taking these missions forward in terms of the defined goal. And now all of us have been asked to revisit the mission considering the NDC which Government of India has proposed to UNFCCC. And we have also submitted our revised mission documents which have been taken up. And there are many new things which we are going to take up in next 5 years. And already Dr. Akhilesh has mentioned some of the areas in which climate modeling we are going to take in a very robust manner. And few more are with regard to this aerosol studies and extreme weather events, urban, and for Himalayas also we are going to take up many more things. So we welcome your contribution into taking over this role further. And I find, one more thing I would like to mention here, that recently one adaptation communication is being developed at the government level. And there are 7 working groups, and DST is part of 4 groups there. And we are given the responsibility for Himalayan as a whole. And then there are 3-4 more. One is related to disaster, then coastal, and one is with regard to policy. So we are contributing into those 4 working groups. And I am very sure that we are going to get much input from the IIT Bombay team. And I think we will be in touch with you in getting the information. And another exercise is technology need assessment, which we have been asked for COP. And we are starting this job as well, in which I could see many technological interventions from IIT Bombay team. So we will be again disturbing you. It's an additional aspect which will be added to your this center, which I am telling in advance. And all the best to all of you. It's always pleasure to be with all of you. And I must also thank Secretary MOES, sir, that the new announcement which you made today, sir, that is going to give a different rise to the whole program, because till now DST has been working considering the mission directives in mind, but now, as you thought very rightly, that at government level, at the ministerial level, how we can converge our good task together with such a strong team. And we are very hopeful that jointly we will be able to take the thing forward. And another thing which I found really very good, and I must say it here again, that research outcome of IIT Bombay is really top ranking. We had conducted our review. Dr. Subimal is here, but I must tell all of you that I think it's top ranked center of excellence among all the DST centers. Good publications, students, and not only that, the kind of products we are getting, I mean, that's really wonderful. And we really hope that your number should multiply till 2023. You showed it right now. Yeah. So we are very hopeful that we are going to get much more quality products from you in the time to come. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Mendiratta, for telling us about the DST's vision and also about telling us about the expectations DST has from this center. Thank you. IIT Bombay envisions being a thought leader in the field of climate studies and set an example with its cutting-edge, solution-oriented research in this area. Thanks to the support extended by our alumni, we have come one step closer to our mission. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to inform you all that IIT Bombay's alumni, Miss Vinaya Kapoor, who completed her BTech in Chemical Engineering in 1992 from IIT Bombay, and Mr. Samir Kapoor, who completed his BTech in Electrical Engineering in 1992, have made a generous contribution to establish the very first chair professorship in the field of climate studies at the institute. The vision of this chair is to encourage increased participation of faculty members and students in climate studies and contribute to IIT Bombay's overall objective of sustainable development through inventive research. IIT Bombay is deeply grateful to Ms. Vinaya Kapoor and Mr. Samir Kapoor for their thoughtful gesture. Here is a video that promotes more insight into what inspired them to donate towards a chair professorship in climate studies at IIT Bombay and their vision for this chair. I request Priyam to please play the audio visual.
Hello everyone, my name is Vinaya Kapoor. I'm an alumnus of the class of 92. I studied chemical engineering and was a resident of Hostel 10 at IIT.
And I'm Samir Kapoor, also class of 92, electrical engineering and a resident of Hostel 4. As teenagers first entering the campus on a rainy day in 1988, we were fortunate to have the opportunity to study at IIT Bombay. And our education provided us with the foundation for a lifelong interest in science and technology.
On the occasion of the 10th anniversary of IDPCS, we are delighted to be able to support the Institute to further its mission. The advancement of climate studies is one of the grand challenges of our time. We are now experiencing extreme temperatures, wildfires, drought, and floods as routine events globally. And this underscores a critical and urgent need to develop ingenious climate solutions and services.
Our vision for the chair professorship in climate studies is to help establish IIT Bombay as a world leader in this field through research, teaching, and collaboration, magnifying its impact for decades to come. We are hopeful that the chair will help attract talented faculty and encourage student participation through projects, internships, and innovative curriculum. We are also excited about fostering deeper collaboration with industry and government.
Congratulations to the IDPCS on the 10th anniversary. We are privileged to be a part of the journey going forward. and we look forward to its continued success and impact. In closing, we also make a sincere request to our fellow alumni to contribute to the Institute in whatever way possible, no matter how small, and thus enable the future and the advancement of science, technology, and education. Thank you.
I now invite the founding convener of IDP in Climate Studies, Professor Chandra, to address the audience, please.
Dr. Ravichandran, Honorable Secretary to Government of India, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, Senior Advisor DST, Dr. Nisha Mendiratta, Dr. Hosalikar, colleagues, and our dear students. It's indeed a great pleasure to address you on this 10th anniversary, like a proud parent who celebrates the first double-digit birthday of their child. So we've come together on this journey. And as I'd like to thank Dr. Nisha, Dr. Gupta, and Dr. Ravichandran for setting out the framework by which government, national lab, academia partnership is what is envisaged in terms of going forward to further interdisciplinary work. So related to this, we had been having some discussions and had some ideas, and we definitely seek modes of long-term collaboration with government stakeholders and with others. And I think one of the ideas was whether there is a possibility for some, perpetual partnership funding mode. For example, IIT Bombay has such a mode with ISRO through what is called the Space Technology Cell. So similarly, we have thought in terms of some climate science and technology cell, if you would, or some mechanism whereby it would be targeted, it would be meeting the ministry and the government's priorities, but also it would give us a way of engaging with various partners in a sustained manner going forward. Another thing that, we've talked a lot about, and Dr. Gupta mentioned the importance of climate modeling and the fact that, this is going to be a very important thing going forward. So we, as you know, we have an MOU with Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune. We've had a very successful partnership since 2013-14 with several externally advised PhD students. We've customized the program to make sure all the credit requirements are finished in one semester and so on and so forth. One of the things that we would like to ask government help in enabling is to have a direct access to sort of optimized climate modeling HPC. What has really happened is that our own interests in modeling are quite high. IIT Bombay has a petaflop machine, but of course, it ends up being 90 cores, 96 hours of wall time is all you get, and even running a modest ensemble of a 30-year simulation becomes, horrendous task. And this is what we've been struggling with. And if there is a possibility to facilitate in such a way through collaborative work, a direct access with our own credentials to optimized HPCs, where, it would allow us to intensify our collaboration with IITM Pune. It would allow us to essentially address the government's priorities in a more direct our research in a better way. I'd like to just close by saying that the IDP in Climate Studies has been characterized by an amazing amount of enthusiasm and cohesion among all the faculty and the students who essentially are bringing a great intent to address very impactful and large problems which go beyond, the normal effort that is needed in science and technology. And we've been very fortunate to have this cohesion and have this excitement. And of course, we have strong and energetic leadership, which we will continue to have in the future. And with the key support from government stakeholders, we are hopeful that climate studies at IIT Bombay will progress from strength to strength. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Professor Chandra. Let us move on to the next event. IDP in Climate Studies has organized a logo designing competition. The criteria for the logo design was that it should depict the IDPCS and IITB mission statement, but it should at the same time reflect the ongoing 10-year celebrations. Several creative entries were received, and right now we will announce the winner. So I request Professor Mondal to please lead Professor Gupta actually. Arpita, if you can. Yes. Yeah. Please announce the winner and maybe request Professor Gupta to. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Out of the more than 10 actually, creative designs that we received to reflect the vision of the IDP in climate studies, we are happy to announce that the submission by Mr. Kushal Tibrewal has been selected as the winning entry. The three colors that we see here in the representative sphere of the earth represents the impact areas that our honorable chief guest also mentioned in his speech: land, atmosphere, and ocean. The three arms represents the three broad missions of the department that are knowledge building, improving science, and policy dissemination. May I now request Dr. Akhilesh Gupta to hand over the cash prize to the winner. Kushal.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Gupta. Thanks a lot, Professor Mondal. Priyam, do you want to give them a closer view on the logo? Please. Thank you, Priyam. Let me now invite the convener of 10-year celebrations committee, Professor Arpita Mondal, to tell you all about the exciting year-long series of events that are planned in this year. Professor Mondal.
Understanding the Earth's climate system and the interaction between its components require an amalgamation of expertise across different domains. The initiative of improving diversity is not therefore a mere question of social justice, but is also necessary for the flourish of science. A small step is taken by IIT Bombay Climate Studies towards the global collective on improving equity, diversity, and inclusivity. As one of the most significant celebration of our decade of contributions in climate science and policy, we will have a year-long distinguished lectures series by women scientists working on climate science and policy. We will feature global experts and thought leaders such as Professor Nandita Basu, Professor Ruth D. Fries, Professor Rama Govindarajan, Dr. Frederick Otto, Professor Julie Arblaster, Dr. Erika Coppola, and hopefully a few more. Another unique initiative taken by the IDP in Climate Studies is to nurture and showcase research done by our students in the form of short science communication video through our official YouTube channel. These videos will give people of this country and abroad a glimpse of the high-impact research carried out by our students, explained in plain language meant for a public audience. Towards the latter half of this year, we will also have a virtual global hackathon event to help researchers and professionals to explore Earth data products, tools, services, engage in hands-on in support of open science and open data, and strengthen community engagement. There are also plans to conduct regular climate quizzes meant for campus residents, particularly school children, and hopefully a series of fun podcasts and videos on climate science and policy aspects of climate change. We are also planning for an alumni day, inviting our glorious alumni and CSR foundations to leverage their contributions towards the growth of climate studies. And further to this, if any member of the audience has any special suggestions for us, please do reach out to us. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Professor Mondal. Let me now formally present the vote of thanks. I, on behalf of our program, sincerely thank Honorable Secretary Dr. Ravichandran for accepting our invitation on short notice and for his address today. I also thank dignitaries from DST, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta and Dr. Mendiratta for their constant support to this program and their guidance and their encouraging words today. Please put your hands together for this. Our director, Professor Subhasis Chaudhuri, and former director, Professor Devang Thakur, has taken special interest in the rapid growth of our program. We owe them heartfelt thanks for that. A special thanks to Shri Hosalikar and Dean R&D Professor Atrey for putting MOU into the action. We thank the IRCC team and IMD team for the preparation of the draft of this agreement. Many thanks to the Dean AIA, Professor Sudarshan, Dean DDFEA, Professor KVK Rao for their constant support and also for attending this event today to encourage us. We thank all the institute functionaries, the deans and associate deans for their constant support. Special thanks to Dean ACR, Professor Ravi Gudi, who was amongst us some time ago, and Professor Suhas Joshi, who was a former Dean ACR, Dean IR, Professor Amit Agarwal, for promoting the IDPCS activities. Thanks to Dean IPS, Professor Tom Matthew, and Associate Dean IPS, Professor Vedagiri, for their infrastructural support. Our sincere thanks to the DRF office, specifically to Mr. Ravi Shankar Gedala, Mrs. Nidhi Mathur, Ms. Arush, Ms. Srimai, Ms. Rukmini, and the entire team for their support. Also, we thank institute officials for their help and guidance throughout the past 10-year journey of IDP in climate studies. We thank previous and present conveners, Professor Chandra Venkataraman, Professor D. Parthasarathi, Professor Subimal Ghosh, for their able leadership throughout the journey of IDPCS for last 10 years, which has made this program a successful and growing venture. Also thanks to Professor Arpita and Professor Anish for coordinating the year-wide celebrations for the 10th year anniversary. The Office of Climate Studies has worked tirelessly to organize this event since its conception. This includes the office staff Archismita, Shiba, Priyanka, Kalyani and Nirmala, who all as a team have coordinated the logistics and have executed this event. Thanks to our students, Ripan, Shayantan, Chang and several students from IIT BBC team who all made sure to chase professors to really record their narration and to put together that video that you saw some time ago. The beautiful brochure that you all saw and that was unveiled some time ago was made by a team comprising of Krutika, Devadyuti, Priyam, Sindhuja, Shiba, Shravani, Rishabh, Reshma and Pooja. Let's put our hands together for the video team and IDPCS brochure team. Our publicity team made sure that the information about the events we organized was made available to the audience worldwide. Thank you to Shiba, Zinia, Nandini, Achanya, Vikas, Priyam for all their efforts. Matrika and Priyam also helped the Climate Office in the overall coordination of this event. Navinya, Gaurav and Manish helped in putting up all the posters. I know the list is long, but they have put in really hard work to get this event going. So big thank you to all of them. Thanks are also due to VMCC and IIT admin for making this venue available and to C-Deep team for recording this event for us. Finally, thank you to all of you for attending this event and making it a success.